When Missy returns in Georgie and Mandy's first marriage, she covertly explains why her conduct is worsening. Sheldon's upbringing and the story of his family in Texas came to an end with the young Sheldon finale. With the remaining McAllisters making up the supporting cast, Georgie and Mandy's first marriage refocused the narrative on its title couple. Nevertheless, since the second spin-off of The Big Bang Theory is still set in Medford, it is not only feasible but practically required to include some of the characters from young Sheldon. For background, the public's lack of interest was not the reason behind young Sheldon's cancellation. Rather, it merely arrived at its inevitable destination. While that was the case for Sheldon, the prequel left his identical sister and the rest of his family with many unanswered stories. Missy's rebellion arc was a manifestation of young Sheldon's beginning to give her something to do after years of neglect. She vowed to reform after a near-death experience, but in Georgie and Mandy's first marriage, she has reverted to her previous behavior and may even be growing worse. Missy continues to look for an adult figure in her life. Without a doubt, Missy's new phase of lashing out has resumed since George's passing. Sheldon's family handled the sudden death in a very different way, as the young Sheldon finale demonstrated. Sheldon was so stunted that he began suppressing his sadness, Georgie went on autopilot, and Mary clung more firmly to her beliefs. Missy, meanwhile, became more erratic and agitated than before. Even when that rekindled her negative behaviors, she is motivated to act worse by something else. Missy doesn't directly say it to anyone who could do something about her circumstances, but she doesn't. Instead, she slips up during her passionate dispute with her short-lived partner, Todd. Missy tells him that since he's older, he should know better during their argument. Even though Todd isn't much older than she is, this fact reveals her ongoing need for an adult in her life and doesn't absolve her of her own transgressions. Missy has had to deal with a lot of her growing pains on her own because her parents ignored her for years. It doesn't help that Georgie's mom is also battling with her sadness about losing George and becoming split from Sheldon. Therefore, she can't provide Missy that support that she needs. Sadly, Missy's situation will only get worse in Georgie and Mandy's first marriage before it gets better. Unfortunately, Missy's circumstances in Georgie and Mandy's first marriage will only worsen in the future. Even though she didn't go through with her shotgun wedding according to the Big Bang Theory canon, she will undoubtedly make a lot more blunders. She is positioned for love failure, at least in her first marriage, even as she matures and lets go of her anxiety. The good news is that the elder Sheldon's narration in Young Sheldon affirmed that she would eventually get married again and lead a better life following the events of the Big Bang Theory.